Hello and welcome to another week of Big Brother Chit Chat. And Jamie's trying to get back on and get her modem restarted. She's having some technical difficulties. But tonight, David and I have JP visiting us. So he didn't think he was going to be able to make it, but he did. So it's kind of a nice surprise. I guess this week, not a lot of surprises really as far as gameplay, just surprises as far as zero awareness.
How is that even possible?
Oh God. This is the first time that there's been something like this where someone's been so oblivious of their gameplay that literally I started feeling bad for them. I started feeling sorry for Brent. Because they were laughing and stuff about him, and the way Hannah was saying, I cannot stand this guy so much, I'm willing to sacrifice somebody from my own team. And I think when he watches that, when he gets out, I just feel so bad for him. But
my son Alex looked at me and he goes, "This is just cringy."
It was so cringy. Yeah. They're hiding from him, but he's finding them, and they're all. And still he didn't get it.
No. I mean, and a unanimous vote. I mean, even Frenchie got one vote. Right. Frenchie had one friend.
Right. I mean, he takes it as, they had to get me out. I'm not surprised. Dude, you're surprised.
Even after he got eliminated, he was talking about how he was going to tear the house up. His ego just didn't end in the house.
No, and he did the old tried and true, I was such a physical threat, they had to get me out. Like it was a compliment to get thrown out.
Right. Here's Jamie. Hey!
There she is.
Oh, good. I can leave.
No, you're stuck now, bud. So we were just kind of more putting it out there that the strategy this week wasn't very surprising, but his lack of self-awareness was the surprising thing this week. I think you might be muted, Jamie. And I did not mute.
There you go. I had to mute out all the cursing I was doing.
So yeah, we were just discussing how it was so bad that I felt sorry for the guy. I feel sorry for the guy. And that's unusual for me, usually, in a situation like this. But
it was hard to watch. It was like you almost felt bad for him because he's so a misogynistic asshat, and
but he doesn't think there's anything wrong with what he's doing at all.
No, but he's so. I mean, the lack of self-awareness was like my son said, was cringy. It was like, oh my gosh, can you really be that oblivious?
And JP, he threw your people under the bus. He blamed it all on just where he's from. It's not him. It's where he's from.
Yeah, I would do the same thing, though. I mean, I blame New Jersey for a lot of stuff.
Do you?
Oh, my God. Just when I wake up.
It's really familiar in the idea of the cringiness and, where he was raised. It's sort of like watching The Office, and he was like Michael Scott walking around, and then the rest of the cast were like the ones looking at the camera going,
yes. Yes.
A lot of gym moments this week.
That's a great analogy, actually.
That is a really good description of how this week was to watch.
It was very evoting.
And I agree.
Did you catch that? Did you catch that he got evoted by Derek F?
Was that what he said?
Yeah, he voted Brent. He messes up every time he gets in there to vote. He can't do it right ever.
And now that you brought him up, because I don't think we've talked about him much at all. Does anybody know who his dad is?
Yeah.
Do they all?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't think that they do. I don't think they'd believe him if he said it. He lays around a lot. I don't think they'd believe it.
He didn't have to do anything because Dad was doing it. Come on now.
Well, Dad's money probably took care of some stuff, I would think. I mean,
he didn't have to fight for things. Dad provided everything.
He'd kick anyone's butt who we need. I mean, my dad would kick your butt. No one's going to fight him, right?
No one's going to fight him.
Yeah,
my dad can beat up your dad, sort of thing. Yeah, no.
Right, but you know what? He's kind of on my. Here's the deal. here's the deal. I don't feel even a second bad for Brent because he was told. He knew this was coming because Derek F slipped up and was like telling him, well, you're not going to have the votes. Like he told him. And then Whitney also was like, how do you, like, you don't have the votes. You're going to have to chase those votes. Like they both told him, dude, you know, and so he came up with this plan that he didn't even explain his plan on the feeds because he told Hannah, no, just, or Alyssa, he's like, you'll just have to wait and see what my plan is. And she's like, but I'm like, you're number one. And he's like, oh, I'm not going to tell you. I have this plan. They never showed his plan. We don't even know what his plan was, but he saw it coming today. Like, that's why when they said, you know, 10-0, you're out, there was zero surprise in his face. 0. Yeah. There was no shock. There was no boom. We were all let down. All of us feed watchers were so excited this whole week. It was like, this is going to be one of those awesome Big Brother moments, but no.
Because why? Because he proved the old thing right. He was all talk.
Well,
right?
yeah, but I mean, like, we're talking about the disappointment is the fact that Derek F opened his dumb mouth and spilled the beans, which all of us were like, yes, we're going to watch this happen. And he's super annoying and not self-aware. So it's going to be perfect to watch this guy get voted out and be like backdoored. And no, nothing.
No, he didn't.
No, he saw it coming. He had already like prepared his defense to Julie by the time we saw what was going on.
No, he did. You think he did? I don't think he did.
That's totally his version of a defense. Absolutely.
How many times have we seen that defense though? Well, of course they threw me out. I was a physical threat and I was obviously going to win the whole thing. So
but I think like he really truly believes it. I really think that he believes it though. I don't even think he was like, what can I say that's going to like maybe make it look like I'm not that upset and I could be like, play it cool. No, like he just blurts out like who he is.
He believed that defense before he was ever in the house.
That's probably true. Yeah, he really thought he was.
Talked about it with his family.
He thought he had it.
They vote me out because I'm too much of a threat.
No, my wife said she thought he was close to tears talking to Julie.
Really?
Yeah, that's what she said. She goes, I think he's fighting back tears.
I thought the moment they voted him out too, when the camera zoomed in on him, I thought I saw tears, or at least the eyes start to water up.
Oh, I wish I would have caught that. But listen, I'm going to tell you, there is some sort of strange vortex of like technology destruction happening around here because while I was watching Big Brother, like our CBS affiliate, like they were running commercials way past the show. So like did you guys see Brittany's speech?
Oh my God, that was the best speech ever.
Oh, shut up. It wasn't. And I'm okay that I missed it.
At least she didn't rap, but she rhymed. So
it's probably best that I didn't see it. Someone was looking out for me.
I missed the beginning of the HOH comp because we had a special weather report.
Ooh, are you getting some of those storms from yesterday that went through the Midwest?
We're getting tornadoes.
It's like, I think all of Jersey's in it, isn't it?
Yeah, Wisconsin was in it last night.
It was a very interesting diagram they had on the news. Did you see it?
No, I didn't, but I have a feeling that it looked
well, there were
at least PG-13. At least PG-13.
There were 2 zones. So there was a main zone that it was very powerful. But then there was an interior zone that was very brown and very pointing at Jersey.
And yep. And a weatherman saying we're going to get 6 inches. I mean,
yeah,
happens every time.
Depends.
Every time.
Some weathermen like to exaggerate.
I still think better Wisconsin than Jersey. I mean, seriously, like if a tornado came and like knocked over the Kentucky Fried Chicken in Wisconsin, who'd care?
Okay. Oh, who would? Who could possibly? Who do we know that could possibly care?
Why would you get rid of all that crispy goodness? Come on.
Not necessarily the whole state of Wisconsin. That's fine. We like
just the KFC. There's already a chicken shortage. It would be disastrous. So, okay, what do you guys think about like how the crew is putting together the fake alliance with Brent, like the mafia? That was fun, right? I like Claire. Like, it was pretty good.
It was again, it was cringy and sad. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for his mother to have to watch that.
Right. That I can see. Yeah.
Normally when you have like a basic week where it's just really like an ABC, somebody gets voted out. It's not this cringeworthy in my opinion. So this one, I mean, I agree. It was, it was very hard to watch this weekend.
I think it was okay. So the thing is with this group of people is one, they are all fairly kind. I mean, as far as cast members go or house guests go, there's really not a lot of, meanness or like snarky
there's no
stuff.
Evil dick going on here.
Right. Yeah. There's really not. However, every single one of them they are watching. I mean, they are watching what's happening. They'll sit down and have a conversation, 1 or 2, 3 people. One of them will leave and immediately they'll go, did you just see that? Did you just catch that? I mean, and every single one of them are doing this. So the fact that they managed to go an entire week and barely slip, I'm pretty impressed with. I'm really disappointed with Derek, though, because I think he tried to make it look like a mistake, but I don't think that it was a mistake.
Right.
He's too on top of and you kind of saw that tonight when he was talking about how he's pretty sure that, Xavier is an attorney and, he's observant. So I can't believe entirely that it was all mistake.
Maybe it's more than just being observant. Maybe he has the sight.
Well, like Davon kind of had the sight, every time she was on, she was calling people's numbers too.
Yeah, she was really good at it too.
Yes. Yes.
I got to say on the whole, I like this cast a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because it's fresh and nobody's recycled, but they're all into the game.
Yes.
They're all playing, and other than Christian, they're all pretty cool.
I mean, it was really cool when he was doing all those backflips during his workout this week.
That just made me loathe him more.
I sent Scott the clip. It was like 6 backflips in a row. He just kept going.
Okay, so
and I'm like, no, I really hate him.
Okay, so you're super bored in the house, and you can do this thing. So you're just screwing around because there's literally nothing to do. So you can do a black flip. So you're just trying to see how many can I do in a row?
How many can I do in a row?
We need some entertainment.
Let's just see. And the guys in there are pretty fun. That's one thing. And it's not like the typical, I'm going to hide in the trash can and scare everybody. It's like they're really actually funny. Like they do funny things.
But it's not Christian's fault that they edited that in. You see? He's just doing what he's doing to entertain people. Just you got to pass the time.
Well, and Christian and Alyssa, they're.
Is that going to hurt them, you think?
It puts a target on them, but I don't think it's going to hurt them, especially considering that the HOH competition went the way that it did this week. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the cookout more than anybody. I'm pretty sure. Which is really going to okay. I'm rooting for everybody that's in the cookout. I'm down with this alliance, but the thing is with this alliance is it's large, and the plan that they were laying out this week was going to leave, if everything went the way that they wanted to go, was going to leave us with a fairly boring season because they were just going to steamroll everybody out, just like the brigade. And everyone
have to turn on each other,
just like last year.
Don't you think that'll get crazy?
Eventually, but the thing is they have all got their own pairs in it, and I wanted Christian and Alyssa to have this HOH probably the least, but as far as moves and where this can take us, it's probably for the best for entertainment purposes.
I just really hope that Xavier goes in that room and messes around on his bed.
I know it was his bed. They were even laying on his bed when he was in there. Like he had to lay on someone else's bed. Well, they were on his bed.
I've
just
done
think
that. I've done that so many times. It's so many.
You know what?
You're
just
doing
a
it right. He's
Jamie
literally doing it right now. He's got his neighbor's bed. He's sitting on it and podcasting, and not wearing pants.
Like, I don't have to. I can do what I want. I'm from New Jersey. This is what we do.
This is JP with his Jeffrey Toobin moment.
Yeah, we have a group of people in there that all at least they want to play, and everyone's kind of keeping an eye out for each other. And
if they're also familiar with the show, many of them,
yeah, a decent
romance,
portion of them. But Xavier, for example, he was a recruit. He hadn't watched the show going in, but he's picking it up, and he's doing great with it because he understands how to read people and how to communicate with people, and that's going to help him probably more than anything.
How to train people and play people. Come on,
right? Know? Yes.
Do you think
you can go after that?
Usually by now also it's a very showmance heavy season, and
right.
So far we've only seen one. Do you think there's potential for more this season?
Mm-mm. Well,
Nothing
no, okay, I'm sorry.
on?
Actually, Hannah, and I totally think that Hannah and Derek X are going to be a thing, for sure.
Yeah, that's coming.
They you know what? They won't make me cringe like Christian and Alyssa.
No, they're like the Niles and Daphne, you know? Like, you're just really rooting for them. They're so sweet.
What about Kylan and Sarah Beth? I know she's with somebody, but
there's no way.
You don't
I don't think so.
There's no way. He is so far out of her league that it's not.
He's had
close.
the same girlfriend for 3 years, she said. I think 3 years. I don't think you're blowing.
Yeah, and she talks about her all the time. Now, here's the thing, though. Here's another thing to kind of. This was an interesting little bit that we didn't get to see on CBS. Tiffany has been. She almost talked herself in a corner a couple times this week, so I would not be shocked if her name gets tossed around with this HOH. But she's she didn't sleep for like one whole night. I think it was last night. I don't know. I lost track of the feeds for about 24 hours as we were waiting to hear how Bob Odenkirk was doing. I was on Twitter checking all of that and nothing with Big Brother. So thankfully that went okay, so I could switch back over. And when I came back in, it looks like she had kind of rewound a little bit, but she's kind of talking Kylan. She's starting to put his name in front. Like, there's no way anyone going against him is going to make it. But then she's trying to make it so, like, okay, maybe Kylan and I can just like cement this final 2, and then I might have a chance, but I don't want to lose Claire. So she was going back and forth with the cameras for a while, kind of trying to figure out, you know, what she wanted to do. I mean, and she was this close from saying, okay, I'm stepping away from the cookout. So, but she didn't want America to hate her. I mean, really, that's why she didn't sleep all night, because she was like, I don't want to make people mad. I don't want to take this away from people. So she had a kind of a rough 24 hours in her own head. But
well, let's hope that was just, you know, like a bump that she had to get over, because I'm sure that this is about the time where this time is really taking a toll, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would think so.
All those first couple of weeks are like you're getting in the flow, right? You're picking up momentum. Now it starts to feel long, right? So
yeah,
maybe
I would
go crazy.
You start to get a little bit like you're in that spot where you're like, I've been away for a long time. I've been away from home for a long time. And then if I'm going to play this game, there's so much more to go. So yeah, that's kind of
it feels like this now, and I still have this many more weeks to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone's getting a little bit, you know, stirring a little bit, because you've got, you know, Xavier kind of checking out, like, is Christian with me or against me? Do I need to take him out? Do I need to keep him? You had Brent walking around just saying absurd stuff and just being very, I don't know, uncomfortable and cringy. And you've had that situation with Tiffany. And Tiffany is trying to kind of like lay out with Asa, like, what direction do we want to go? Who do we want to take out when? And so she's telling her, well, I think that we should get rid of, you know, this person. I don't remember who she said I think we should get rid of first, maybe Alyssa or Sarah Beth, and then Whitney. And then I was like, no, I really think we need to get rid of Whitney first. And she's like, I'm not trying to I don't want to come across as, being pushy and everything. And Tiffany's attitude's like, it doesn't matter what you think, this is what we're going to do. And so now there's a little bit tension there. So we've got these girls having tension. You've got these guys having tension. So I think whatever happens this week is really going to start showing who people are going to be aligned with through the rest of the game. And on top of that, this is the last week for wild card, and I'm assuming for teams.
Probably.
That
Yeah,
might
I
make
think
sense.
so. Yeah.
I think they should switch to an all-girls alliance right now, because I think that would be a smooth move, and because otherwise, you got Kylan, you got Christian,
Look
you
at
got
this guy.
Xavier.
He's like, all girl alliances never work, but now he's like,
No.
They should-
I'm saying because of the cookout and how tight it is,
right.
it could be a really nice blindside, and you take out a Kylan or a Xavier, and they don't see it coming.
Yeah, well,
Right.
they need to put some protection around themselves because she's not wrong. Right now, as it stands, Kylan, everybody loves him. He is an actual threat mentally and physically, and socially. So, and we've got some great players. Claire is an amazing, smart person, but
When are
her
we gonna see the
social
Claire
game
cut?
isn't. And that's just it, because her social game isn't out front enough that she's not getting an edit.
No, I mean her edit's awful. It's like she's not even on the show.
Yeah, and
That's-
she is
that's okay.
not floating.
Keep going.
She's on the game. She's playing the game. She's making her, but the problem is that now she's going to have to really start making some moves because she's not part of the cookout. And her closest person, I would say, is Tiffany. And Tiffany is not going to pick Claire over the rest of these guys. She'd get kicked out. She'd be voted out along with Claire. So
Unless she got all the other girls to go.
unless
Right. Unless she got all of the girls.
Tell me,
And-
do you agree though the smart move here is if they do form an all-girls alliance to call it Frenchie's Girls or something?
No. No. You know what it'll be. It's the Brigade.
that's what we want, right? That's what we've been crossing our fingers for. We'll see. We'll see. We can dream. I don't think it's going to happen, but we can dream.
It would be smart for them. So if they work together as the cookout, they get out the other people besides the girls they want to work with, and then pull those girls in and
Yep.
do a switch
Yeah.
on the
Right.
guys.
And there's been a lot of talk of
Smart
do we
for
get
that.
rid of Alyssa or do we get rid of Christian first? And there's good
Christian.
points to be made either way. Christian is a threat physically, so he can win those competitions for whoever he's aligned with.
Right.
However, I think Alyssa is going to play the game a lot harder than Christian ever would.
But who do you think
No.
Christian's going to put up? Because I was looking at this and he doesn't have a ton of options.
Christian's going to put up whoever Alyssa says to put up.
Oh,
Yeah,
he was
I agree.
asking, he wanted to. We have to get a girl out. And this is three. The only three evictions have all been white men.
Right.
Yeah.
I will be
So-
honest with you. I know that it's horrible, but I really, really have my fingers crossed that they put Brittany up again.
You know what?
I like
Oh.
Brittany. Now come
I like
on.
this.
Listen,
Yeah.
if Brit,
Other than
there
the
has
cringy
been
rap.
other players. Look at like Frank. Remember, there's been other players that have been up time and time
Yeah.
and time and time
Yeah.
again. And if
don't act
Brittany
like that.
keeps getting put up as a pawn and then makes it that's all she needs for her resume. I was up
Right.
more than half the time I was here. I never got voted out. You all love me, and then do some stupid rap and she's won the game. She just has to keep her cool. But see, and that's another thing they didn't, of
No,
course,
she
show
was
this week. But Brittany lost her mind all week. She was crying and like getting so mad at
Jamie,
everybody.
Tonight, she was crying so loud they could hear her in the next room. I don't think that's happened. I don't. Now that's just fun when people are yelling and people hear something's going on, like people are fighting. But has there been somebody in a room by themselves just? Like,
I'm sorry. I can't. Somebody crying is one thing, but she goes beyond the level of like, I'm sad because she's not grasping the game or the power she has in that. And to me, it's like, it's a, it's a disaster I can't look away from, but at the same time, she could use this. She could use this so well. There's been so many people that have been thrown on that block as a pawn over and over and over again and kicked butt with it. I mean, Ian, look at Ian. He won his season and he spent most of his time on the block. She's in a great seat. She just needs to stop crying and realizing that she's like probably in the best position.
But I don't think he puts her up because I don't think that's a popular move with the house.
No, I don't think he does.
I think he's putting up Whitney for sure.
I don't know. I don't know that Whitney will go up either because her and Alyssa get along fine.
Yeah, but
I think it's going to be Hannah.
Well,
I think they'll put Hannah up.
I think it's going to be Whitney. I think it's going to be Derek F.
I can see that. Yeah,
because
he might.
He's not in the cookout, and Xavier is only going to push so hard. He's not going to put anybody on the Queens up. So,
but see, I could. Okay. I think that Hannah will go up based on the fact that she and Derek are the closest thing to a match threat that Christian and Alyssa have.
Right.
From their point of view.
Yeah, but that puts the target even more on them.
I don't think they're going to think that way.
You don't want to be the only showmance in the house.
But I don't think they're going to think that way.
Well, and I don't think we ought to pretend Alyssa's a deep thinker at this point.
She's watched a few things. I mean, she's made a few good points here or there, but she's really not as involved in the game. But it's sort of like, okay, a great example of how this could go wrong for the house guests if they getting rid of Christian or like getting rid of Christian and keeping Alyssa would be Nicole. And her first season, because she was in that showmance and she was like hanging out with, well, what was it? Cody? No, not Cody. I don't remember. The first boyfriend she had in the Big Brother house. Talk about Hansel. And she has spent her whole time in there and they're like, oh, we got to break up this showmance. Well, as soon as like they start breaking up showmances, Nicole's all like boop, 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 boop. And she gets into everybody's head. So you've got to when you break one up, you really have to be careful because you're giving somebody the power of revenge. So if they feel like they need to seek revenge, it's just they just play better. Well, okay. Gina Marie didn't play better.
No, she did not.
She was just being the best Gina Marie she could be. But
I don't think Alyssa would play better.
I think she would. I think Alyssa would play better.
I don't think she has it in her.
I don't think she does either.
You guys, I think you're counting her out too soon.
I mean,
I don't think Christian would play better outside of physical comps. I don't think Christian would play better. He is the laziest dude in the house. They're all mad at him because he never cleans and he never showers and he just lays around. He ain't playing the game.
Stop with the hair braid. Stop.
Did we ever get to see when they straightened his hair? Because they showed that on Twitter a lot. That was really something. Man, if you were upset with him now, David, you would see him with his hair straightened.
No, like, I'm gonna look it up. That can't have looked good.
No, they didn't.
I'm just saying, of all the ladies in the house, I think Alyssa's the weakest.
Yes.
I
would agree.
Even Brittany has more game.
Oh, yeah. No, she totally does. Brittany is like makes good friends. She's part of, good alliances. She's tied up with good people. She's fine. That's why I keep saying she goes on the block again. She's fine. They're not voting her out. She's got the best position. I mean, it's nerve-wracking for her. And I do feel for that because she's scared the whole time. But like, get on there, be upset, and then just get your butt to the end and you win.
Well, I think also like if he doesn't want to have a week where he's putting really much blood on his hands, then like a Derek F is like the right move.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's really going to hurt anybody in the house.
Right. Yeah. Well, Derek F, I mean, there might be one or two people that are like, yeah, that's okay that he goes. That's fine. That aren't going to put up too much of a fight about it.
Okay. So I just looked it up. I don't know if it'll show here. This is while they were doing Derek's hair.
Oh, the hair.
Hold on a second. Okay. See what you guys think of that.
Oh, now I hate him
It's
more.
so horrible.
I hate him even more.
That is
Beautiful.
totally Lord Farquaad.
I know, right?
It's so bad. That is not good. David, don't be jealous of that. Come on. Give me a
No.
Of
break.
course I'm jealous of that.
No, that's gross.
Nah.
That's
It doesn't,
gross.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that, nope, you don't want to be jealous of that. It's bad. It's all bad.
It's
That was
real
bad.
There's a picture of Tyler with his hair straightened too.
Still worse.
Those are pretty funny. Anyway, check them out. Twitter.
I
Twitter
feel
has
like
them.
Tyler handled the straightened hair. He looked better with the straightened hair, not so
He's
much
so
Christian.
super weird. He looked like
It
he
is
was
a little
about to be-
weird, right?
He looked like he was going to be on Zoolander or something. I don't know.
Yeah, some Zoolander. That's great. I don't know though. I think you're counting Alyssa out too soon. I think you should.
I don't. I think she's
Don't get me
transparent.
wrong. I don't think she's going to sit down and have, a house meeting and convince a bunch of people to follow her in a league. It's not going to happen. But
No.
okay, this week again with them being in power is going to show a few things. But I think that we're going to end up with Claire on the block. I think we're going to end up with
He won't betray
probably
the royal
Derek
flush.
X.
He won't betray the royal flush, and both of those do it.
If they have any idea that this is the last week for teams, I think they would. It depends. If
Maybe.
it slips that it's the last week for teams, or if Tiffany starts thinking, it's this many weeks, they're going to start splitting our team. We're going to get rid of teams, then they might risk it.
If they're super fans, they know it because whatever the stunt is at the beginning of the season only lasts 3 or 4 weeks.
Right. Which
Now-
I think would mean that we'll have our first endurance comp too. Because once they're on their own, if they're going to be on their own now we can do endurance.
Yeah, they said that this week. That must be next week's HOH is going to be endurance.
Now, you said Tiffany and Claire are close.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
imagine Tiffany and Claire and put Azza in that. And that would be a formidable group because Azza just sort of sits back and takes it all in, doesn't say much. I don't know what she's doing on the feeds, but at least with the edit.
Here's the thing. She's
Too
sitting
emotional,
around. Yeah, she's sitting around. She's not doing much and she's not doing much. She's everything that you get from Azza is an emotional reaction. That's not sensible. Like, put me on the block. Don't put Brittany on the block. It's an emotional response that, might make her a good friend, in the house, but she's not going to be a good.
She needs to distance herself from Brittany this week. She didn't need to do all that with Brittany. It's a game, Azza. It's a game. You don't think it's fair, but we have it. Trust us. We have a plan.
Okay, and another thing is Azza's kind of, without even really meaning to, she is like this close to being on the outskirts of the cookout because they all kind of consider Hannah part of the cookout without telling her she's part of the cookout, but Azza just never did. And then she she let the name slip this week to Hannah, and she's all like, yeah, it's like the cookout, and Hannah's like, oh, is that what the name is? Like, that's cool. Like, that's really cute. And she's like, no, it's just like a group of friends. Like, we're not.
Yeah.
And then she's like freaking out and she's telling everybody, one by one throughout the week in the cookout, like, oh my gosh, I let it slip. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And they're all like, she's the only one that couldn't catch on that Hannah was kind of part of it without knowing she was part of it. So she really isn't in the middle of the know.
She's emotional and she can't hold it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she'd be incredibly loyal if you had her on the team.
I think she could be, as long as your social game was good enough to know that how you speak to her is 10 times more important than what you speak to her.
Right.
I think you could tell her anything as long as you did it in a kind, loving way that made her feel good. It doesn't matter what you said, but if your social game isn't good enough to recognize that she's that kind of person and then to abide by that, you're making an enemy. And I kind of feel like Tiffany's sort of edging into that zone because Tiffany, I mean, she's even talked about it herself with her family. You know, it's like, we're going to tell you this is how it is. And we've gotten in fights, like my family and I have gotten in fights, but no one ever like takes it anywhere, because we all know, like, you just tell it as it is, and that's how it is, and you don't take things personally. And this is the exact opposite way that
they can't do that. Her family's so ginormous. They would literally have like battles if we wanted to choose sides, you know?
Right. So if she can figure that out, the two of them will be fine. But she's anybody, and I think that's part of the reason why she likes Brittany, because Brittany is always just real friendly, you know, like really friendly with her, and doesn't make anybody feel like this girl is mean, or she is mean to me, or she doesn't like me, you know. So
well, one of her things was she's really loyal. Was one of Oz's things about Brittany. She's really loyal.
Yep.
She is super loyal to her team. Teams are about to go,
right.
So being loyal to your team doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, but those relationships, some of those relationships are going to carry.
Some will, but you can't. But that's because they've now become something else, not because of the original teams.
Right. Yeah. I think right now, I feel like a lot of the loyalty we're seeing with the teams is just a show. It's just straight up a show. Like, I'm new in this place. Like, the first week we were there, I'm in an uncomfortable new place. This makes me feel like I'm part of a clan, and I'm going to stick to that because that's my comfort place. But as they all got a little bit more comfortable, made friends, it's a show at this point. Maybe one or two of them in each team are loyal to each other, but it's BS. It's BS.
I don't know.
Once those teams are gone.
No, but we've seen it. We've seen it on other shows where those teams still become clanny after they're broke up. I mean, it seems like it happens on Survivor constantly, right? The former so-and-sos. And, you know, I think the Kings are, with the exception of Xavier, are probably pretty tight.
I think that the one huge dynamic that makes this maybe a little bit different, or a little bit difficult for that loyalty to stay there, in comparison to something like Survivor, is that Survivor, you've got 36 days versus 3 months and one small enclosed place, and they spend at least half of every day to 2 days at a pop locked indoors because they cannot go outside with COVID restrictions, when everything to remove sets and everything takes twice as long. That's why the gym's inside now. So you're in this contained area.
Well, and it probably smells. I mean, let's be honest.
It probably does. Well, last night the production got on and said, house guests, like, clean your house. So they all had to get up and start cleaning.
Was that what the brooming was about?
Yeah. And the house has some pretty notorious, and I'm sure that JP has heard some of this, like, there's some pretty notorious factors with insects and roaches and ants in that house, and the ceilings are garbage, and like, it's, if you are not tidying up, you're going to bring creatures in for sure.
Sure. I mean, it's not a real ceiling anyway. It's production ceiling. So there's lots of places for things to hide and really get up there and clean everything. And
I think it's like studio lights and stuff.
Yeah. So how do you clean that? It's not like a real house where you could actually like get in the corners and stuff.
Get in there and dust. It's pretty funny though. I love whenever, like, it just cracks me up because you're like, they know what sells. So yesterday, like, they're all cleaning, you know, and it is really funny. One of the things that I wish that they would show a little bit more of in some of the CBS edits is, like, Derek F and Xavier's conversations are so funny. Like, the two of them just razz the hell out of each other, and they're really fun to sit and listen to them just, you know, go at each other and give each other hell. But they're all cleaning yesterday, and Whitney's like cleaning one of those, you know, the windows that you see, you know, and of course it's got cameras on the other side. So she's cleaning one of these windows, and the camera's just getting closer and closer and closer.
So like up her nose,
you know, and she's dressed as she usually is dressed, you know, and her face is made up nice. So they're really just panning in there and holding that shot for a while. But
on her face, right?
Yep. You bet. On the face. Nothing too obvious, but obvious.
Oh.
Yeah. again, the edit that you get at CBS has to be a certain way, but you really do get to know who some of these people are, and sometimes it's just not. It's not what you think. But I would love to see, like a little montage, of some of their goofiness together.
I was thinking about the whole Britney thing, and then as it portrayed or could be connected to the whole cookout woman reliance. Wouldn't it be awesome TV watch if somehow Britney won HOH and she puts up Kylan and Xavier because they are the ones that put her up, and then they could take one of those guys out for the girls?
Well, there's a strong thought that whoever is responsible for taking out either Tiffany or Kylan is going to be the winner of the series, like that, of this whole season. Like that's the mass belief. So if she could get up there and she could take out one of the big ones again.
I think Kylan's going to go home for sure. I don't think he makes it even to like the final 6 because
you don't think so?
No, he's too big a threat. I mean, everyone's going to see it. His own alliance is going to turn on him because he's a clear winner if he gets there.
Yes, because I just think he's too likable. I don't think there's nothing you could say.
Yeah,
bad
what does he
about
do?
him.
Does he work like with underprivileged kids in the
Right,
city?
I know.
It's like, and I like puppy dogs, and I help old people on Sundays. I mean, it's.
Yep.
And he's like double minority, right? Because he's like Black and Hispanic. So he's like,
he's got the whole package of what
Yeah.
everybody wants in the winner, and they're like,
he's handsome, and he's got a cute smile, and he's charming and trustworthy.
He's even a little humble about all of it.
who would you pick?
I just want to say, if you're joining us now, Christy is talking about me.
All these nice things she has to say for you.
Kind of embarrassing.
And as a reminder, JP's not wearing pants.
On his neighbor's bed.
Not anymore.
So who would you guys pick for the two that you would least watch to see at the end? We've talked about who our pull is for our favorite two at the end. Who do you, at this point in the game, is it Christian and Alyssa?
Well, Christian for sure. He needs to go. He should have been out week 1. Why is he there?
I would say
Part of the curse.
Right now, for me, it's Christian and probably Hannah.
I like Hannah.
I love Hannah.
I don't know. She's just...
Like, I don't know.
I just picked somebody. Leave me alone.
Claire and Hannah, two strong, smart ladies. Okay, so I don't want to see Christian.
Whitney would be the other.
Don't want to see Whitney.
That's who I meant. I meant Whitney. Yes. I
Okay.
meant Whitney.
Of course you
I
did.
meant Whitney.
Okay, don't really want to see Alyssa there either. Just whatever.
Alyssa, if she gets there, doesn't win, so that's fine with me.
That's
I'm
true.
with you. I don't think that there is a card out there for Alyssa. I don't think Alyssa has a key going into any winner's box at any point.
No.
I don't know that I don't think I'd really want Brittany at the end either, because she just really put me off with that crying. Because it was almost like she's in the other room being loud, crying as loud as she can, so other people can hear her crying.
That's what I mean. It's like
I don't have the
it's
energy.
this crazy
But if you're not a
disaster.
physical threat, maybe that's a strategy.
Do you think
Is make people feel bad for you,
But
and
does
they
that
keep
make
you
people
around.
feel bad for you, or does it make people annoying?
Well, I mean,
Well,
there's a
they're
few
already talking
times
about
that
not
people
putting her
are.
up again.
There's a few times that where people. Okay, I think that if they try to get rid of Brittany, it is going to be a hush hush. It's going to be a backdoor / blindside, whatever. I cannot see them going, yeah, but see, this is why it works in her favor, because
Right.
she's been on there so many times. If they really feel like they're going to get rid of her, they're going to have to deal with a week of this again.
Do you think Brittany is America's favorite right now?
No. Well, they didn't show Brittany at all this week, so I'm guessing her ratings are probably pretty high this week.
Brittany's
I don't-
are?
Yeah, probably. I don't think that they're as high as some others, but I don't think that they're nearly as low.
Would win.
It
He'd win
depends.
American's favorite too.
Oh, yeah. I really think he'd be on there. I know a lot of people think that Sarah Beth could possibly be, but here's the thing about
Yeah, but you
Sarah
got to
Beth.
remember, you're forgetting the disproportionate teenage girls voting in America's
Yes.
favorite.
Yes. But Sarah Beth is she I think she is sweet, but she comes across as very sweet and low key and kind, and she has that like wonderful soft little Queenie voice that everybody loves. But she's smart as a tack, and she's been so far she's been part of all of the right conversations. So I would not count her out being in the final four.
And I feel like I massively underestimated her because I thought she was going to be an easy kick out week 2 or 3. You know, she's got no game. She's really impressed me.
Yeah. Yeah, she really she's in there. And I don't feel like that's the thing. I don't think there's any floaters. I think that the closest to floaters we have right now, maybe Derek F. I don't know, but he can insert his opinion in the right places, you know.
Right, he's the lazy one. I
think Alyssa's a floater.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, no, I think
Christian is.
Especially this week, Alyssa's just
well,
going to float.
How do you call the guy who's sitting as the HOH as a floater? I mean, at the moment, anyway.
Because everyone else threw it.
Okay.
The only other person that was trying to win HOH this week for reals was Hannah. Like, there was so many people again that were like, "We're just going to throw this HOH.
Sure
We're going to throw this
trying to win it." You don't think he was, Derek X? I mean, he looked like he was.
Yeah, but that's part of the Hannah.
Yeah, it's the art of the dump, right? Yeah.
Tiffany for sure was not trying to get it there because she had that piece turned around the other way, but she was still trying to make it go. It's like, you see, that's not how it goes. Come on.
It was kind of a fun. It was kind of a fun challenge. I mean, I do like with the teams doing teams and stuff this year where they pulled some of the dynamic that we get from like something like Survivor. You know, if it would be interesting if they did teams up to a certain point and then made a team shift.
Yeah, and
to see
drop your buffs.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I'm wondering if you think they'll knock it down to just 2 teams at any point?
They could. That would be interesting if they did that.
Right.
It would be, but I don't think they're going to based on what they were saying tonight about how it's going to end and they're going to go to endurance and
right.
But I'm just saying that would be cool because half the house would have immunity.
Well, it would be interesting.
That would shuffle everything up.
You'd have to turn on somebody in your team, then there would be no point of having a team, really.
Yeah, that was a dumb idea, JP.
You got to have at least 3.
It would be interesting. It would be actually because and it was totally like a pure shuffle, like pulling names kind of a thing.
Right.
That forces you to like rethink your game.
Or you could do the Jeff Probst schoolyard pick.
There you
and
go.
Force people, because it forces people to show their cards.
Yep. Yeah, I think there was.
That's a good idea.
But then it ends up helping somebody ends up getting way overpowered.
Or they could just do another rigged slot machine.
A rigged slot machine, or they could do like another rigged like punch out thing.
Oh yeah,
that was horrible.
The comic superhero challenge thing.
Like, could we maybe try to make this at least look like it's a real thing? Please, like someone has a chance. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. This is the one thing that this season is giving people that really love the game, and they're giving them a chance to go, okay, you know what? This week, I think most the casual viewer is super stoked to have Alyssa and Christian up. I mean, they just are, because look at the time slot. Look what follows this show.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Love Island.
Right.
Correct.
So of course this is who cool, great. This is who they want to go up. But I think anybody who's a real fan of the show or has been watching for any length of time, they're like, okay, this is the most boring bleh. But though I agree, I think this is where the game starts. We're going to start seeing some knives and forks and backs finally. So,
I'm sorry.
We're going to see who's going to feel comfortable enough to go to Christian and try to sway him. Oh, obviously, Alyssa and him will talk, but who else? Will Tiffany go up there and try? And
definitely Tiffany. Tiffany and Christian are buddies. Xavier.
But you have to be careful when they're HOH. Like, you want to be buddies, but you still don't want to make it feel like you're being bossy about their HOH either, right?
She's good with him though, because he's so young and like kind of like he's She's
She
got
comes
that
around
mom
and
thing.
mom.
Do you think she? I'm wondering if she's gonna, in the back of their mind, are they thinking a women's alliance and just trying to push another guy out?
I mean, there is a group of girls that are really working together. They
Frenchies.
won't go as they won't go as far as saying we are like an ironclad, like girls only alliance, but it's a group of girls, and it's like I don't have my paperwork out, but it's Brittany,
Stick together, and it gets you to
Tiffany.
jury at least.
Well, and it's much easier to compete if you're like you don't want to compete against the big physical guys.
right? But I think of all the girls, though, you've got, from what I can tell, you've got Sarah Beth, Whitney, and Alyssa on one side of the girls' house, and then you've got the other girls on the other side of the girls' house.
Really?
Yeah.
Last week it seemed like Sarah Beth was kind of bridging that back and forth, like she wasn't clearly on one side.
She's good at being in the right conversations, there's no doubt, but she does not have, you don't see her forming like an outward alliance with somebody. But this is another thing. We've got all of these alliances, but it's really funny because they're all like, well, this isn't an alliance. This isn't officially an alliance.
Yeah.
But it is,
Like the Mafia alliance. Poor Brent. Anyway.
Yeah.
Cringe.
Oh my God.
Even the actual Mafia was like,
People all over New Jersey, the real mafia, are like, oh, that's awful.
No, there's no such thing. No such thing. Do you think it'll be awkward for whoever wins this show when they're flying home if Brent is their steward?
well, he's an international flight attendant.
They'd be like, dude, give me a Coke, Diet Coke.
Dude, he'd be spitting in it.
I've been on a flight with Brent. I've seen he doesn't offer. It's not beverages. It's coffee, tea, or me.
Coffee, tea, or me.
You know what?
Why?
Okay, now that you say that, he's totally the guy who is on the plane flirting with the rich old ladies, right? That are flying to Europe.
Yeah.
He's totally.
Right. But okay, can we just talk about how his conversations with Whitney would go? Because I'm not a huge fan of Whitney, but whenever she would sit down and talk with Brent, like it was some of my favorite. It was some of my favorite moments because she is a bit more self-aware in a conversation about like maybe how, you know what I mean? Like if she sounds braggadocious or something, but they both kind of have this just boom, boom, boom at each other. That's so funny. So I do kind of miss that we didn't get more of that or, won't get more of that.
But Hannah didn't even try to hide her contempt for him, though. He would be talking and she was like, ugh.
But like he would talk about her to other people and he was convinced that she had it bad for him. Like he was so convinced. Yeah.
Again, not self-aware.
You know what he reminds me a lot of, but not as likable? Caleb. Like Beast Mode Cowboy Caleb.
No.
Yeah, just totally unaware, keeps like saying stuff to the girls because he thinks he's like the hottest thing in the house and there's no way that these girls cannot be in love with him.
Yeah, but that was endearing with Caleb.
That's why I said a less endearing version for sure, because Caleb at least was clearly a sweetheart. He just was lost.
Caleb was at least bringing the goods, so...
And I mean, like, he's willing to die for salt and pepper. So give him that. I mean, Caleb's got it. But I don't know. Brent always gave me the heebie-jeebies right from the get-go. And then I kind of wanted to like the guy because he's like, he's just kind of a doofus, But
well,
no.
he didn't look like such a doofus next to Frenchie. But with Frenchie, once he was gone, it's like, oh.
Right. Like, oh, there you are. There you are.
The next doofus comes to the surface,
That and that kind of happens sometimes. You've got the alpha that's there and gets kicked out, and a new alpha comes to the surface, but the same can be said about the doofus.
Yeah, that's true.
You kick one out and it just lets the one underneath him float to the top.
Yeah.
Makes it easy for everybody to point a finger and vote out, though.
And Frenchie was the king of the doofus, so he could cover
He
up
is-
a lot of doofus behavior for other
And
people.
I have to say, unfortunately, he's not doing a great job of undoofusing himself on Twitter once he's made a reappearance. So
Oh.
He's not.
no,
Dude, no.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because I even kind of went on the defense for him. I was all like, he didn't play a good game, but he cares, and he kind of came onto Twitter in full defense mode. So it'll take a while.
I think that's a natural human reaction. How many people go off and go, I just misplayed that. I can see all my mistakes.
Because they were like, I don't remember who said it, but they were like, what's the first question I should ask Frenchie? And Janelle goes, why'd you play so bad? It's the best. And so they showed that screenshot again this week, and it was like, what's the first question you want me to ask? And it's crossed out and says Brent. And then there's Janelle. Why'd you play so bad? But I don't think we're going to be stuck with a lot of bad players. I mean, maybe one or two of them are going to make some just dumb moves, maybe. But I think now we're getting to where we have a few just real smart cookies. I'm kind of feeling more and more that unless somebody cuts him out at the heels, that Derek X might make it to final two.
Yeah.
Really?
I can see that. Yeah, I think so.
I think he's just as likable as.
I'm just not sure who his natural allies are.
Hannah.
Well, once you go beyond Hannah.
Derek F. Like Derek F is for sure. Tiffany. Xavier.
Not if the cookout continues.
Kylan.
He's on the outs of that.
Derek X and Xavier make an alliance. They can be the X-Men.
Oh. But now they got to stay.
Okay, we got to yell over the wall. We got to yell over the wall. It has to happen now.
All the way to the end, they could be final two. The X-Men. I don't know.
That would be. I would. I'd root for it. Whatever.
That would be a hard one too. It was the two of them. That'd be real. What we've seen so far, it would be hard. They're both super likable. The only thing you can say is they're headed to HOH, but.
And they're both really likable. They're both very smart. They're both physical, great at physical comps, and they're kind to other people. Even ones they're not in an allegiance with, they're still really kind to other people.
I'm sure Brent would disagree after he sees how much everyone laughed at him.
Oh my God. It's so funny too, because it's like you watch them but you can watch, okay, it's like the old thing that like Conan O'Brien would always talk about when he'd like land, an edgy joke where it's like you watch the and this is what was happening with them because they were like, oh my gosh. And then you could see them like, I kind of feel really bad, but it's really, really funny.
How is this even possible? Because that's the thing with Brent this week. I think that had it been somebody else, they would have seen the writing on the wall. But I think that even when he saw the writing, his ego would rewrite it in his brain. He couldn't see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because he would literally out loud say one thing, and then you're like, oh, okay, he's starting to kind of figure this out. And then like immediately just roll on himself. I don't know what he's doing. But it kind of made it more fun to watch for the rest of us going, oh, this, and then of course, like, I'm telling you, Derek F like lost fans. Like he lost a lot of like some like big fans of this show are like, nope, you're dead to me now, man. Because they were so hyped for this, for this actual, it's been so long since we've had a really good Blindside.
But can't we just get along? I mean,
it's no fun. That's no fun.
Does anybody feel like the early part of the game, though, when there's so many people, it's harder to follow? And then when it really gets good and there's like 8 people left, then it's like double eviction. It's like, why not do a double eviction when there's 12 people? Because, get a couple of people out,
right?
Because it really gets interesting when there's like 6 or 8 left, right?
We're at night 1, 24 house guests. They come in, boom, 10 a year going home right now. Like,
didn't they have a season where they like sent? Because they sent what's his name? They sent him home like the first night, and then there was Jody. She was in the house for 43 minutes.
Glenn Garcia.
Yeah, Glenn. Yep.
So, wait, what happened? Until-
He's like, he was in and then he was out.
Yeah, Glenn never even spent the night.
Nope. Here's the house. And it's the same with Jody. Like they made him vote night one.
Well,
they even-
at least they didn't have to eat slop.
no, they even said, which was ruder, was they knew there weren't enough beds because they'd already counted them. So it's like, dude, wait, there's not enough beds. What's going on? So much going
JP
on.
is sitting on 3 of them. Sure, she is, bed thief.
He's like the princess and the pea. How many mattresses can you have?
As many
Am I the
as we
princess
want
or
here,
the pig?
damn princess.
When you're pantsless, there's no limit.
That's how I take up 3 beds.
Yeah.
He's a princess.
Wow.
He's a little princess. So, okay, we've got Christian, we've got Alyssa, we've got a wild card. Do you think that if this is the final wild card, like it's going to have to be pretty awesome, or is it just going to be kind of dumb and no one's going to use it because no one ever uses these things?
Give the power to your showmans.
Right.
So
I think they got to make it something they're going to use.
They have to. I mean,
Otherwise, it's like the
yeah,
dumbest
you
gimmick
can
ever.
switch teams. The you can switch teams was really stupid.
yeah.
No one's gonna switch teams.
You know what I
Yeah,
miss?
Why would I
So
do
far,
that?
the first
Even if I
couple have
hate
been stupid.
You can't
Even Frenchies. I mean, like, granted, it would have kept them in the house for one more week, but
Right.
it was still a waste.
Well, and
It
well,
was.
that's the
it
thing.
could have that could have actually saved his game if he would have been
Yeah.
safe the second week. He might not have overplayed, and he might have sunk into
Yeah.
it and been a little less. Nah, he'd have overplayed.
If they really wanted
I'm wrong.
if they really wanted these twists to work, they have to stop giving them an option to play for it and an option to use it.
right.
They need to have them play for it, and it needs to be used.
Right.
Well, here's the thing: is if they really wanted to make this a game of chance this season, and they're pushing the whole gambling thing, or they were, you just do it like these are your
Games
things.
never stick.
Okay, so this is the thing: we're gonna do this double or not, whatever. You're gonna save one, or you're gonna not, and it's just a flip a coin, and they have to do it.
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah,
this
for
or that.
sure.
Now you flip the coin and see if you
Yep.
really get to keep it.
Well, because back in the first half of the series, whenever they wanted to stir this whole expect the unexpected thing started because they had things like the diamond power of veto and Pandora's box, and nobody
Right.
had a choice. They had to use
Right.
them.
right.
Right.
And that's what created all of this, like, oh my God, we don't know what to expect. And now it's like, expect the unexpected, except for you totally expect it because we always do it the same way.
right. You've seen all our tricks, so expect it.
Expect
well,
the
it's-
expected.
It's like on Survivor where the idols have just gotten out of control, and it's like
There's like 50 idols.
and
Like
it's like,
everyone's got
I can't
7 in
even
their
keep
pocket.
track. I need a Venn diagram to figure out who's got the idol.
It's so true. It's like the guns on Lost. Everyone's got one, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's got one stashed somewhere.
And Ben has like 8,
Right.
and that's just in his sock.
It's exactly how it is. Maybe
But
they
no
should.
ammo. No ammo. Got wet.
Maybe they should shift it up and be like, I think it would be a fun like a veto competition that, how they do the tossing the house where to get the clues and then you put them up and da-da-da. Maybe
Right.
they need to get rid of all of that and say, there's one veto in this house. And then they all go at once,
Somewhere in the house, there.
Or you could do a veto comp where you'd be like the first one out's eliminated.
Yeah.
That would be
that's a good
interesting.
idea. Yeah.
Mhm.
They lose the veto and they go home.
The person who's out first, there's like 4 people playing, right?
You're toast. That's what you get for
Yeah.
having weak
Yeah.
legs.
5 people playing. So the HOH could potentially go home. That would
Yeah.
be fun.
Yeah, because the HOH is always safe, which is why everybody wants to go for it. But take away their safety. What if you could? Well, they've done something like that before, haven't they?
Have they?
Where like the HOH lost their power.
Yeah, somebody else got
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
That's been like a bonus thing that you can win.
Right. I don't know. I don't think that. I just don't think it's going to get played. The only way I think it's going to get played is if we've got somebody, like if we've got Claire on the block and Tiffany on the block.
That's not going to happen.
Then they're just going to let it ride, and they're going to probably be like, okay, well, both of them are a threat, so let's just get them out. This is the easiest way to do it. But then I think if they have like you know, I don't know. Like there's certain people that could be on the block that would prompt a wild card usage. It
They
just
should add. They should do like one season where they add like 2 or 3 people who just aren't even playing, but they're there to just kind of shake up the game.
well, it's kind of what the coaches were, wasn't it?
Well, the coaches eventually played. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
eventually they got to tap in.
We could have one person, and we could call him the mole. Oh, they've done that.
That's America's player,
Right.
the
The
saboteur.
mole. That was
Oh, yeah.
Anderson Cooper, wasn't it?
That show?
Yeah.
The Mole? I loved that
I
show.
liked
thought it
that
was
show
great.
too.
I figured out season 1. I had the mole in 5 minutes. It was like,
I don't care. I still liked it.
Yeah,
and it
but
was
we had
Anderson
the
Cooper. So now when he
Okay.
tries to be like a serious journalist, I'm like, no, you were
yeah,
the
right.
host of
You
the
were
mole.
the mole. You were part of the mole. Now if we had something like the saboteur. I mean, we had the America's player with Eric, and so like everything he
Yeah.
did was voted on by America. Like he had to do what America said.
Right.
But then you had like the one with the saboteur, which some of it was kind of dumb because it was just like goofball pranky stuff, But that's a dynamic that could, if utilized correctly, could really stir the house in an
Like
awesome direction.
if you have somebody in there who has to like conceal the fact that they're not really playing, and they're the ones that are like spilling the beans to the other team, or throwing those rogue votes in, I think that I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you can pull it off, or
I've always had this idea that would be really awesome if you had, say, a team go in, like one team go in. You have all of your like regular cast. You have all your single people, but then you have one team go in that you don't know is a team, but like a husband and wife. Siblings would work, but they'd have to look nothing like each other. And
Step siblings, maybe.
if the goal were to have
Aja's
one
family.
side of the house, like you would start, the goal would be to try to get like if I went in there with okay, Chrissy, if we went in there, then our ultimate goal is like we are only 100% loyal to each other. However, I'm convincing this half of the house that we're in an alliance, and you're convincing this half of the house.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have two sciences going after each other, but we're always conversing to make sure that keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? You have like a secret team,
Right.
and see if you can, because like I could have you go and talk to them, like you could put in a word over here that starts stirring some paranoia up and vice versa. And so then there would be a control group, but they wouldn't know it was happening.
And then if they did that though, then they also have to make somehow some secret room in that, like they did with the girls that were switching it out. There has to be a secret space in the house where they can go to talk to each other. Then no one would necessarily see that they were in
because you have to make it like you're
Well,
the
you can
enemies
just put a
in the
secret
house.
door in the diary room that no one knew about, and summon the person to the diary room.
Or like the food, like where they get there, like in the pantry.
Yes, that wouldn't be bad.
America was getting really mad at our house guests this week because they went in when they were cleaning in the pantry and threw away tons of food. Like tons of food, like veggies and stuff. And they're like, they were getting so mad at them. like, I don't know what they do with all that veggies, but it looks like they're just throwing them in the trash.
They're probably bad.
Well,
I would think they probably have cockroaches in them. Their house is a mess.
Or ants.
Yeah. Well, there's always ants. It's always a thing, or like a grandma butterfly or whatever. Remember that? Who was that? Her name.
or
She's
Grandpa
out in
Lou.
the backyard and saw the butterfly.
Grandpa Lou.
Yeah, the grandpa butterfly. I mean, everyone's getting haunted by their ancestors there. It's a scary house. There's ghosts on the other side of the window. I mean,
Big D
can
like read people's minds and give visions.
Big D could go, he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
That's
But
pretty
see,
impressive.
okay, like another great example of a power that was utilized that actually made a massive difference in the outcome of the game was when Rachel and Brendan were on there, and Rachel got booted out of the house, like she got sent home. But when Pandora's box was open, she got to come back into the house for a half hour. But she didn't she didn't get to interact with anybody. She left Matt's name out with the pretzels.
Right.
You know, she told Brendan, you need to go after him because he's the one that's he's the one. He's the liar. Get rid of him. And it completely shifted the game. So there's always ways.
By the way, this is my Rachel face.
she's always in cry mode. She's in full laughter or cry mode.
Maybe her and be friends.
They're a great example of how you can just loathe somebody in the game and then just adore them outside of the game once you see them not being competitive. Oh, when Rachel was first, oh God, no.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, I couldn't stand it.
I loved her craziness. I was just like, oh my God.
Well, she made for great television,
right.
and the crew she was with was the perfect dynamic to have there with her. When she came back around, though, like her second time in, I was rooting for her way more.
Yeah.
I liked her, a little more. I liked her the second time, but I loved her on The Amazing Race.
Oh my God. I do.
Did any of you guys watch when they did their wedding on TV, when they had their wedding special and everything? I think I
did. I'm pretty sure I did, actually.
Channel. I don't know. It was one of those. I watched it.
It cracks me up too, because when you start to hear interviews from her cast members, both of her seasons, but especially that first season, when they are talking, like their Rachel stories are so funny because they're like, she's so like panning. You know, like she is hamming it up for the TV. Like she knows what she's doing. Mm-hmm. So she'll be like totally chill and just like, yeah, da 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 da. And as soon as like she knows she's gonna walk around the corner, she's like, oh my God. Like she immediately switches and gets this like TV persona that gets going. But it worked for her. She's hilarious. Yeah, I love her. I like her and Brendan are both great. And but I did not want them to win that first season. I was like, ugh. You're right.
Not a fan.
But there's always somebody every season where I'm like, yuck, no. And then I tend to like them a lot better afterwards, or someone I really like. And then I kind of see their, Twitter life and feed and hear more about them. And I'm like, maybe not so great after all. Just fun for the television screen, I guess.
Well, I'm really glad it's been many seasons that we haven't had anybody come flexing their muscles inside the house.
I just had this thought. JP probably has like a direct message link with Rachel, and she's going to show up, and I'm going to have to do my Rachel face live.
I'm texting her right now.
It would be my favorite day. It would be my favorite day on planet Earth if that happened.
Turn around already just thinking about it.
It's great. So great.
She just unfollowed you.
It's done. Just broke up with your Twitter, man.
You're dead to me. All right,
we had
guys.
all sorts of great characters, and I think after this week, we're going to start seeing way more angry Rachel faces in the house.
And we have to, because if we ever want to have another All-Star season someday, we have to start having some more All-Stars. So
yeah, we got to make a few more stars out of these people, right?
Yeah, Frenchie can come back. Frenchie's come back. Anyway.
Oh, Frenchie.
Well,
speaking of stars, join us next week.
Where we're going to shine so bright.
So next week I am unavailable, so there'll be some mix of these people here.
I think leaving JP in charge is a real mistake. I got to say it publicly.
Well,
wait, does that mean I have to be here?
Well, JP, you can just mute him.
Well, you don't have to be there. You can sit on your own bed in your own apartment. You don't have to crash your neighbor's bed.
You can even wear pants.
You can. It's allowed. I mean, it's not required, but we suggest it.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll keep the same time. 30 minutes after eviction, we'll be on, given the ideas and thoughts and eye rolls and all those things that we have about it.
Yeah, and we might be really happy about what's going on in the HOH world and eviction. We might be really mad about it.
I might send you guys a text or something just so I can get my opinion out there. But so Don't forget to subscribe. If you do that, then you guys get your notifications. You'll get reminders that when we're going to be on, because you know you don't want to miss a second of it, because we're that good, guys.
Let's thank everybody in the chat, Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
You know what,
Rachel.
Rachel's pretty.
You know what?
That's not that Rachel.
She's great.
She does the same face though.
Okay. Well, alrighty, guys. I guess we'll cut it there and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.